Carrying on from stage 7, we don't actually need any new parts, so we can go directly onto stage 8. We are going to create the small subassembly for stage 8. We probably don't really need to do it because it's only 2 parts, but we're going to stick with the same process that we've used so far. Before we make the assembly, let's make sure we've got the appropriate parts open. So we can open the axle part. You can click on it in the assembly and press open part, and then you can press Control Tab to go back to the main assembly. And then next we need to open the small bush. So you can also click on this in the assembly and press open part. We can now start the new assembly. So we can go to File, Make Assembly from Part. We can choose the axle and we can insert that fixed to the origin. Make sure that you're using the 3 long axle. So you might need to click on it and choose the 3 long configuration. Then we'll also insert the small bush part, and we only need those 2 parts. We can now mate them directly together. So I'm going to get a circular face from each part and make those concentric. And I'm going to lock the rotation. I pressed the lock rotation button there, but I think I actually pressed it twice. So I'm just going to check that that's locked. And if we expand the mates here, we can see it's not locked. So I'm going to right click and press lock rotation. And then for the left-right position of the bush, if we look at the instructions, it's not really clear how far along the axle we should put that bush. So let's look a little bit ahead in the instructions. If we go to the main assembly, we can see that this right angle beam should be in between the 2 bushes. So let's measure the length of that, and that should give us the spacing for the bushes. You can do this using the measure tool. You can find this on the evaluate tab. And let's just find out that length. That is 7.85. So let's go back to our assembly, and we can now use this dimension to set the spacing of the bush. We know now that we need a gap 7.85 millimeters between the 2 bushes. So let's select this face. Let's also select the plane that goes down the middle of the assembly. And let's set a distance mate. We want 7.85 in total, but we're actually mating to the center of the assembly. So we only actually need half of that amount. To figure this out, we can write in 7.85, and then before you press OK, also write /2, and then press enter. This will divide by 2 what we wrote in. So 7.85 divided by 2, which equals 3.925. So we can then press OK to add that, and that assembly is fully defined. So we can save that as stage 8. Now let's go back to our main assembly and insert that subassembly. So go to Assembly, Insert Components, and choose that stage 8 subassembly. I'm going to spin it around like this, and then I'm going to fix it in place using concentric mates. I'm also going to lock the rotation. We probably don't need to do it for this one, but I'm just going to do it for completeness. Then for the left-right position, I'm going to make this outer face of the beam coincident with this inner face of the bush. And now we know that's exactly in the middle of the model because we measured that middle section already. Then to finish off, we just need to add one more bush to the other side. Let's insert another one of the bush parts, so you can hold down Control, left click and drag from an existing bush part, and then release the left mouse button to insert a new one. We can then mate that in position using concentric mates. We can lock the rotation, and then I'm just going to drag it out so I've got enough space to add a coincident mate in there. And we're now complete with stage 8, a very quick stage there. In the next video, we'll be modeling up another part, which forms the outer frame of the cockpit. Then we'll be adding that in stage 9.